Hey guys, so now that we're fresh off of the press conferences from E3, we know a lot more about Project Scorpio and Project Neo from Microsoft and Sony respectively. And that's exactly what I wanted to discuss today. So, I know a lot of people have gone out of their way to make videos about this just for views, but I really have a fresh opinion, and I think that some of my questions remain unanswered, and maybe you guys can speculate with me or help me out in the comments. I don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around this entire situation. It's so weird and out of the ordinary for like a game company to make an incremental upgrade to their console midway through their life cycle. So, if you guys don't know what the PlayStation Neo and the Xbox Scorpio are, they're basically the not the next generation consoles, but they're an upgraded version of the Xbox One and PS4 in terms of specs and VR support and 4K support. Now, one little detail that people keep forgetting is that these consoles are not going to be capable of complete and utter 4K in every single game. Now, the Scorpio is obviously more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Neo in terms of teraflops and GPU power. It is equivalent to the GTX Titan X or the GTX 1070. Very, very, very powerful cards, capable of 4K gaming on a somewhat medium level, not on ultra graphics on everything anymore, but definitely 4K capable. Now, the Neo is about 2 teraflops less at 4.14 teraflops. The GPU would be capable of near perfect 1440p gaming, but not nearly 4K like some indie games I expect to run on it. But from 1440p upscaling is what I expect the Neo to be capable of. It's more for just a VR upgrade for the PlayStation, and same thing with the Xbox being supported by Oculus. So that's just a quick rundown of what these consoles are and what you can expect them to do. They're not 4K capable. They are 4K in terms of output and operating system. Maybe not gaming, but definitely like video streaming, Netflix, and YouTube. So here we go. Let's start from the beginning. Back in March of 2016, I can't exactly remember the dates, but we got reports of Sony creating a PlayStation 4.5, and many people like me were skeptical. So I really just ignored it with the rest of the internet saying that an incremental upgrade to the PlayStation 4, why would we need that? So when April came along and we got all of these official reports and a bunch of game developers saying that the PlayStation 4.5 was real, I really asked the question, why is this happening? It was right at this point when Microsoft started to say, oh no, we don't need to upgrade our Xbox One. Our Xbox One is great. Our platform is perfect. Why would we need to upgrade? Literally a month later, they're saying, oh, it's a possibility. I'm sorry. Okay, so they didn't need to go out of their way and say all of this crap about, oh yeah, this isn't going to happen, because it ended up happening. But that was around the time, I think it was the end of April, beginning of May-ish, about the time when I realized that these consoles need to happen. They have a place in gaming history. Seriously though, guys, people may not like hearing this, but the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are underpowered. No matter what anybody says, they're not living up to what the PlayStation 3 and the 360 lived up to back in the day. Literally 2 years after those consoles released, they were still putting out games that were relatively competitive with the PC. Not so much with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Like, they're falling behind big time. I don't care what anybody says. They're like, well, they're not, they're still producing 1080p image and high graphics. Yeah, well, they're not sustaining frame rate at all, and not all of the games are full 1080p. Most of them have to be downgraded to 720p or 900p. Most Frostbite 3 engine games ended up running about 720p on the Xbox One. That isn't acceptable. That 720p was a standard back in 2006. Yeah, yeah. Throughout all last gen, the minimum requirement was 720p. We have come so far, and guess what consoles still can't handle full 1080p? I'm just saying that these new consoles, these incremental upgrades, needed to happen. Now, I say this not being nasty toward the Xbox One or the PS4, but what Sony and Microsoft need to understand is that their consoles are underperforming. And from these new reports, they seem to know this because these new consoles wouldn't exist if the PS4 and Xbox One were some kind of beast console generation. Now I'm going to quote another YouTuber. Basically, Rich of Review Tech USA about a month ago made a fantastic point that I could not agree with more. He said, if the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were released back in 2011 with the same specs, we would be due for a new console generation in 2016, which is entirely true. If you look back at nearly every console generation previous to the PlayStation 3 and 360, the generation lasted about 5 years. Take the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, that lasted 5 years. The N64 and the PlayStation lasted nearly 5 years around that point. So why didn't they make the 7th generation consoles start back around 2011? PC gaming wouldn't have been held back by the PS3 and 360 so long. Think about it. We were already getting subpar game experiences back on the hardware even in 2011. It would have made sense to release these consoles then. But they ended up releasing it in 2013 and really screwed up the generation because the graphics cards that are equivalent to these consoles are running behind now. They're not up to date. So why didn't Sony and Microsoft release these things back in 2011 with these same specs? Your guess is as good as mine, but all we can do right now is speculate. And do I believe they screwed up by releasing them at that point? Yeah, I think they did, and they're trying to fix it or mask it by like producing these incremental upgrades that support VR now, that support 4K. They should have been able to do this stuff in the first place. But I'm not faulting them because they're doing the right thing. But I really truly believe that the PlayStation Project Neo and the Xbox Project Scorpio are the right thing to do right now. They have the potential of getting these other buyers interested in the Xbox One and PS4. Now, the early adopters for new tech will obviously hop on these things really quickly. People like me who are really interested in new hardware. I'm extremely excited about this. Like, I truly get excited, but I can't help but criticize, like, why are they doing this? Like, and I can't help but analyze all the stuff that's going wrong and all the stuff that's going right. Either way, I'm excited. This is just the beginning of where the next few years of gaming go in terms of what are we going to be gaming on? Are they going to be like mostly PCs? I don't know where consoles will be. Where do you guys think we will be in gaming in 2 years? Because from what Sony and Microsoft have recently said, these new console increments will not affect the release of the next generation consoles like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox 2, I guess. But they won't interrupt anything. They'll just be there to support and kind of raise the bar for visuals and VR gaming experiences in general. So I'm excited about these consoles, and I hope you guys are too. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.